Hi, I'm Roop from A&I Magazine Hyderabad, Arkin Publications Private Limited. So today we have a young dynamic designer Shruti Malani from Hyderabad with us on our podcast session, and we were lucky enough to feature her site in our 6th edition. Hi Shruti, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. How do you feel about getting featured in our magazine and 2 words for our magazine?
Yeah, so it was whenever your work get featured, it's like an appreciation coming from, it's a similar industry. So you feel good. And then obviously I like the other work also, and I like the way that it's been done. Very, aesthetics are important for us. We are known for that. And the way you have presented it, it's come out really, really nicely. So, when we give out our work to any magazine, there is sometimes the inhibition that, are they going to put it correctly? Whether it is in terms of words, whether it is in terms of the pictures that we are giving, the print quality, but it was done really nicely well. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Can you just discuss something about your journey, how you started? If I'm not wrong, you're basically from Delhi, Gurgaon,
Yes.
shifted to Hyderabad,
Yes.
and when you compare Hyderabad and Delhi, Delhi was a far ahead
Yes.
when you jumped into Hyderabad. So, how difficult for you to cope up?
So yes, I've of course, as you've said, I am from Gurgaon and now settled in Hyderabad. So when I started working here, in terms of work, it was a little different because Delhi was way ahead, and still sometimes a lot of designers, we still go back to Delhi for doing a lot of our sourcing. Hyderabad is coping up very, very brilliantly, but it was Delhi before. So it was little tough because you had come from a mindset where Delhi actually spends a lot. And Hyderabad is slowly gearing up. I think that was a difference initially, but now I feel it's at par.
Very true.
It's at par, in fact, sometimes even better. So now it's all good, but yeah, it took me a lot of time because it was obviously a mental shift of how I was, brought up, and the culture is different.
True.
Though it is India, but the culture is different. So it took me a little time, but I think it's great to be in Hyderabad.
So, generally, like your forte is towards residential projects or commercial projects?
No, I have, thankfully, by God's grace, that we have been doing all kind of projects. So we are doing residential, we are doing restaurants, we are doing commercial, we have done grocery stores.
Great.
Uh,
Grocery stores?
yes.
Surprise.
So,
In Hyderabad?
Yes, so the Vijeta grocery supermarket, the one which is, we've done the premium
Area.
Yeah, so there are 20,000, it's one of, I think, the biggest stores in Hyderabad. The 20,000 square feet store was done by us. The superstore.
My home wala?
Yeah, that was when we started with them, the My Home Bhuja, that was Vijeta Elite. So they started with an elite brand for the grocery stores. So even when they came to us, we were also like, okay, now, how do you give luxury to a grocery market? It was a challenging thing, but I think they were happy and we were also very happy with the outcome.
So, about your studies, like you have done your interiors from?
Yes, I've done my interiors and I've also done my masters in marketing from UK.
Okay, so your interiors were done in India, Delhi?
Yeah, it was in Delhi.
Okay, and internship, you have done your internship somewhere or directly you came?
No, I just started with my own at first.
Lucky enough.
Yeah. I think sometimes when you're drived, I think it's got a lot to do with how you feel, Of course, you do few mistakes in the starting.
Definitely, mistakes.
We still do, I believe. But I was so passionate about this field, that I was actually, I was into a commercial, like a other work. Because I'm a master's in marketing, so I was doing that work. But somehow this was my calling. So sometimes you feel like you were, this was something that just came naturally to you. So this came naturally to me. So I never thought, it never came to me, oh, let me work with somebody or let me do an internship or, Of course, there were a lot of learning, but then I started on my own from the very first day.
प्रोफेशन के साथ साथ आपका पैशन भी है, बता सकते हैं?
Yes. I think that is the difference in my journey. Everybody has their own, but my journey, because I was so passionate about doing this and on my own. So yeah.
Like generally when it comes to like you're married, you got your own family. So how do you manage both professional and personal front? Do you find any difficulty in that, or it is easy to manage?
No, I think that question is quite last time, because everybody is managing everything. There are no choices to be made in terms of you want to work, you want to work, and if you want to work, you will find a way out. Of course, there are some tough days as a mother, as a homemaker, even as a business, as an entrepreneur or as a designer in the field. Some days are tough, but then you've chosen it, so then you just.
Hey, madam, what actually I have misinterpreted the I have asked you the wrong question. Generally मेरे को actually आपको ये ऐसे पूछना था कि जो सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज वगैरह में जो जॉब करते हैं और इंटीरियर जैसे जिसको प्रोफेशन लेते हैं, सो विच इज मोर कंपैटिबल विद पर्सनल लाइफ और विद अ फैमिली लाइफ. I mean to ask you that.
Achan, well, I've done both.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm asking you this.
I've done both. I don't know. I think when you are happy doing a job, you try and manage. That would be the right question, because we also have we try and stick to a routine. Like, we are working from Monday to Sunday, so those people are also working from Monday to Friday, and we also have a timeline. They also have a timeline. But because you are an entrepreneur, then of course there are some calls which you do take after work hours also. So that could be a little bit of difference. But I feel when you like your work, whether it is in that field or whether it is in that field, you'll find a balance. You'll maneuver through. Otherwise, if there's something that you don't want to do, then I think it is a different thing. Otherwise, both the jobs have their plus. Then
Everything has plus and minus. Yeah.
so like if you are in an industry where you are getting paid by a company or something like that, then you come back home, you're done with your work, right? When we come back home, sometimes we are not done with our work. But then on the other side, if I want to take a 1 month break, I can definitely just go and just arrange for my work to be done, and then I can just go. So it's got disadvantages and disadvantages, but the key would be to probably love the work that you're doing.
100%. So your like working style, so you're into consultancy or you're into contracting?
We are majorly into consultancy.
Okay.
But if required, we do it for some of our clients.
Okay. If there is a requirement, then you take turn. So you have all the agencies with you.
Yeah. So we have our, we have our own team to take care of it.
Okay.
But we are majorly into consultancy.
Then how do you find completing or meeting the targets on timeline? How do you cope up with that? Generally, like, just a message, just for a young aspiring designer, like you are also a young dynamic designer, generally what problem youngsters face in coping up with the site, completing on the timelines? Do you have any particular, what do you say, that remedy कि इस तरीके से काम
The most important thing is to have a realistic timeline. The client can push you, your contractor can push you, but you know yourself that if this is going to take you 5 days, it is going to take you 5 days. There are, like, you are also into the industry, so you know that there are some things that also have to be met by the client, by the designer, and this is a teamwork. It cannot be done alone, right? So I think the most important thing is to have a realistic deadline. Sometimes when a client says no, just do it in 3 months. If it can be done in 3 months, go and say yes. But if it cannot be, then you have to tell the client that this work is going to take you a certain amount of time. And then I think the right team combination, everything cannot be done by one person. You need to go and approach people who are good at whatever they are doing. So like if I'm doing consulting, I know for windows I'd come to you. Or probably if I'm doing furniture, I know which, I need to go to those people to get into the timeline that I've promised my client. Or if they want, certain things to be done by us, then we also need to tell that, this is the amount of time that will be taken. And I think the one very important thing which people should know when they're starting is to have your drawings freezed.
Most important.
Yes. So when they change on the site is the starting of a delay. And that happens in we cannot say that it will not happen, but if we can minimize it, I think we'll be on time. Yeah.
getting into this field, you said that ki it was calling you. Like any inspiration, like हर किसी का होता है कि भाई ये डिजाइनर का काम अच्छा लगता है, or that inspire you to be like an interior designer?
See, there are many great designers in India,
Yeah.
and they inspire you like anyhow. You know, their work is amazing, their thought process is amazing, and when you see them creating, you feel like, oh, you know, it pushes you. But you should have your own, you know.
Definitely.
That's my thing for it, because I just wanted to do it.
Okay.
And there are so many in across India. You know, we have Amir Hamida from Hyderabad. They do amazing work, and then we have Shantanu Garg, and you know, yeah, they are good. And then there are some young designers who are doing such amazing work, and I think their work speaks for them.
Hey, in young designer, you're also doing great. We have seen your site. We came across many designers in Hyderabad. Like we have almost featured 49 architects till date, like including our 7th edition. Your work is really superb. For 8th edition, we got one more story. She is also a youngster like you, Ishita karke. She is a designer. Even her work is really amazing. She is a starter, but she has set a such benchmark कि in her 3 years of career, seeing her project, we thought it should be published because that will give a mileage to our magazine.
Yeah, I think that's what the key is. When also good work needs, as much as the designer is good, work needs to flow.
100%. That is very important.
Then the right client needs to come, and it sometimes do take time. So nobody should get disheartened, because whoever has reached there have had their share of hard work and challenges to face through. It is never a easy life, that how it looks like on Instagram and how it looks like on the reels. We probably show a before and after on the reels, but the amount of hard work, the challenges, and there are so many, they're not so good happy moments also.
Yes, definitely.
It just shows on Insta like this is.
इंस्टा में हम लोग बिफोर केक की फोटो दिखाते हैं और फिनिश्ड केक की दिखाते हैं ना, बीच का टाइम कभी नहीं दिखाते हैं कि बीच में क्या क्या हुआ था करके. सो यू सेड अबाउट इंस्टा, आई वुड लाइक टू आस्क यू अ क्वेश्चन. हाउ इन्फ्लुएंस्ड यू आर फ्रॉम सोशल मीडिया इन दिस इंडस्ट्री? जनरली हम लोग देख रहे हैं कि बहुत सारे, आई विल नॉट टेक एनीबॉडीज नेम, नॉट नीदर आई हैव अ राइट टू टेक नेम, बट इफ यू सी नाउ, many of them are inspired by the social media or a Pinterest, and they just use this instead of using it as a reference. They try to control C and control V there. So how inspired you are from social media?
See, social media is a tool to be used to display your work. That is how it has to be used. Not a control C and control V. Because that is not going to take you long. If you do not have your style put into picture, and if you will find inspirations everywhere.
You can just take a reference. You mean to say you can take a reference?
We all do. I think all designers
everyone
do.
has to do
Because we travel, like, you know, it's not just Instagram. When you travel, you go to a place, maybe you just like an art piece there, and you probably think that this art piece, I could probably use the shapes, maybe the detailing of it, maybe the color palette. We all look for a referencing. That's a different thing. But seeing there and pasting it is difficult. It shouldn't be done. I think that also happens from a client sometimes, because it's so much of available, then they feel that, you know, this is what I'm seeing is looking better than, you know, what you are telling me. Not taking into consideration the size, the budget also sometimes, the space also. Like in Bombay, you know, there is a certain humid element to there. So there has to be a certain different type of designing that is done in Bombay as compared to done in Hyderabad. The space size is different. The color palette is going to be different. So whatever you put on Pinterest is very general.
100%.
And then I think when you hire a designer, your main objective should be to have a unique home for you, which represents your personality. Not even the designer's personality. The designer will add their touch to it. But then it should reflect the person who's living in the house.
100%. So, one more thing I would like to ask you about is whenever you meet your clients, so generally they share their requirements. Sometimes it happens that their requirements as per the space given, as per the budget given, as per their requirement shared, doesn't gel. So, how do you meet that tough situation?
Yeah, that's actually a tough call because you, but I think that problem exists for initial 10-15 days of your first few meetings. Then I think you'll have to probably come out and tell the client that, see, this is what you're expecting, fits into this budget. What you are telling the budget is this. Are you okay to spend? Or let's adjust because you like it so much. Let's take an element. Supposedly the client is very fond of art. So let's take, instead of buying 5 arts, let's just start with 1 art. Let's get you that art into your home. Leave you space to buy that art in the coming few years. So that's how again, it's a maneuver because we are dealing with a lot of people. It's not just sometimes clients, it's also coming from the vendors that we deal with. But the challenge situation is with the client mostly because it's not their mistake also. Yeah. They've come to you for a certain reason because they're not aware of what they're wanting, what is the budget, is the space fits in. Like supposedly sometimes clients do come and say, okay, now you want an island kitchen. So you'll have to say that, okay, I'm ready to put it. But do you think you'll be able to move around the kitchen that much? So when they say no, oh Shruti, there's a little less space, I can't move. So they themselves will say no. It's more about educating the client in the process of designing their home. And that's very important because they have to maintain it later on. So I think being, communicating the right manner with the client will solve this issue. And also the practicality and the functionality. When you add that things to the client, they do understand. Because they are going to live in the house, so they don't want a house which is not functional. Or even if it's a commercial space, like if you're doing a grocery store, no matter how much beautiful you want to make it, you have to understand that it will be used by a lot of people.
100%.
And maintenance is going to be tough.
Yeah.
So you might as well use the products, which is very easy to maintain. Then you're doing a commercial project, you know that you have to use products which are fire retardant and all those, basic safety protocols needs to be followed a little more in commercial
when compared to residential, and especially when it comes to grocery stores, and that too such huge. If you want to opt one thing in your interiors while doing any project, what aesthetics or functionality?
It has to be a combination. I cannot have a house aesthetically designed with no functionality. No, I can't do it. And I don't of course, functionality comes a little prior because you can, because we are into a creative industry. It's our job to be creative, but we can't let the functionality part out of it. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, designing designing some clothes which cannot be worn, then what's the fun doing it?
So aesthetics and functionality need to go hand by hand.
Absolutely.
So now you're doing projects in Delhi also, or you're only?
No, I do projects in Delhi also.
So how do you manage traveling execution?
No, we don't. As I said, we are basically into designing and.
Yeah, but generally, when you site visits are required for interior, when they are doing consultants also.
So we travel, right? Okay. We travel. Our team travels. We have.
Now you have a video call and many tech.
Yeah, thankfully, COVID has definitely taught us one thing, that you are able to work from remote places also. So then we are able to work, and then there are such good professionals, who are ready to help you.
Yeah. Nowadays, you have a culture of PMC also. Even clients are ready to appoint PMC.
Yes.
The PMC are playing a very vital role.
Yes, and when a client hires you from Delhi, they understand. They've understood that you are going to be coming from a different city. So they understand and respect your time that you're giving it to them. They understand that it needs to be finalized. When we are going for some source of furniture or, whatever finalization, they know it needs to be done and freezed. So we are able to do it.
Generally, there is always a turning point. There is always a stepping stone.
Yeah.
ऐसा कोई प्रोजेक्ट आपको ध्यान में है जो आपने किया था विच चेंज द एंटायर सिनेरियो कि भाई श्रुति मालानी से इंटीरियर डिजाइनर श्रुति मालानी का टैग लग गया था? डू यू रिमेंबर दैट? एनी ऑफ दैट सच प्रोजेक्ट विच हैव गिवन यू अ अपर हैंड इन योर करियर?
See, all the projects that I did was like one step, and it is still like that. And it should.
Every project is setting a different benchmark for you.
Yes. I think that is what I want also to be done. That that's the line that I want to follow. That if I've done this house, the next house I would want to do different, maybe better, maybe
where मतलब you study on your past flat also कि यहाँ पर अगर मेरे से कुछ mistake हुआ तो I see to it it's not repeated at
Yes,
some other site.
yes. I think the turning point would be actually the time when I decided to, give this. I mean, I was just known by my name,
Yeah.
but when I decided to actually just take Golden Pyramid Design into and think of it as like a company, not just an individual. I think that one day that I decided, no, now I want to do it like that. I think that was a turning point. I did few projects before that, many after that, but I think that making it as a company changed it for me.
Why मतलब golden pyramid? Any particular reason?
Yeah, so it's the pyramids are there are 7 pyramids, and this is basically because I'm as much spiritual also. So this has got to do with spirituality, and golden is because it's touched by the golden light, and there'll be opulences in all the houses and all the commercial projects that we do. So it's not just for us; it's also for the clients. We would want that we've designed a house for somebody, so they should also prosper.
One last question. I will not take much time of yours. Every designer have their own signature. मतलब जैसे भी आपने बताया आमिर सर हमेदा मैडम के बारे में शांतनु गर्ग सर के बारे में seeing their site we can understand कि भाई this site belongs to this particular person. So do you have any such signature or you're planning for something of that sort?
I think my signature would be to have some unique elements in the house which stands out. That will be. I have still not these people have these designers have like a great year of experience. I am still into that process of doing it. But I would want to have, of course, one signature where somebody says that this house was designed by Golden Pyramids Design. But as of now, to whatever I have done, I would like to say that there is an element of mine which you'd probably see in the projects that we have done. That this house was done by her, because there are some unique pieces. Even if I've done a room, there'd be something that is different, which everybody like, oh, this this is something unique we haven't seen. So that uniqueness in each home would be and different from the other. So I would not have a home that is not something that I aspire to be, but a uniqueness in the home would be, and taking in consideration the client's lifestyle or his choices. So that one single thing, maybe in the house, maybe in his room, maybe in the commercial project, would be my style statement.
Fine. Thank you so much, Shruti. It was nice talking to you. Thanks you have taken out your time and given us valuable suggestions, valuable feedback for our magazine too, and good message to the youngsters, aspiring designers. Thank you so much, Shruti.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.